right, welcome to Unit 5, Lesson 1. This is the second lesson, so if you didn't watch the first lesson, I would suggest that you stop the video and go back and watch the first one. So we're going to do some practice problems on long division, and we're going to do, the first one is going to be, we're going to do it together the box way, and the second one we're going to do it the traditional way. And then from there, you can decide which method you would like to do. All right, let's take a look at number 1. I am on page 210 in your new math textbook. If you don't have your textbook, just use a piece of paper. Here's our situation in number 1. A farmer has 2,106 cows and 9 barns. If the farmer divides the cows into equal groups, how many cows will he put in each barn? All right, so it's a lot of cows and a lot of barns. We're going to divide it like this. So again, you can set it up like the traditional way, but then what we're going to do is we're going to make it into a box. And I like to leave the bottom of my box off because I'm not sure how long it's going to be. Okay, so I would suggest having your multiplication chart out and take a look at those 9s. I'm going to look at my first digit here. My first digit is a 2. Is 9 going to go into that 2? Can I take 2 and break it up into groups of 9? No. How about 21? Can I take 21 and divide it into groups of 9? I sure can. It won't go exactly. I won't have the exact amount, but I can take groups of 9 out of 21. So look at your multiplication chart. Go across those 9s. Which number in that chart comes closest to 21 but isn't bigger than 21? I'm hoping you see the 18. And 9 times 2 is 18. I'm going to put my 2 above that 1 because it went into 21, not into 2, it went into 21. So I put my 2 right here. And when you're dividing, it's really important where you put those numbers up on the top. Okay, so 2 times 9 is 18. And I'm going to change this to 200, and I'm going to make that 1800. Okay, so I put my 2 there. I just put 2 zeros across there to fill that out, and then I multiply. Next step is to subtract. To do a little borrowing here. So I'm left with 306 in my box. Now, this is a little different than the traditional method. Your number down here in the bottom of the box is going to be bigger than 9 a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. So if it is, you're going to make another box over here. So 306 goes into the top of the box. And now I'm just going to forget this first box for a little while, and I'm just going to deal with this second box. And I'm going to divide the 9 into the 306. Does 9 go into 3? Can I take 3 and break it into groups of 9? No, I don't have enough. 30, can I take 30 and divide it into groups of 9? Yes. Once again, go across your 9s in your multiplication chart, and which number comes closest to 30 but is not bigger than 30? Hoping you saw 27. 9 times 3 is 27, so I'm going to put my 3 here, and then above the 6 I'm going to put a 0. Now I'm going to multiply. 30 times 9, well 3 times 9 is 27, add my 0, 270. Subtract. Borrowing. I get 36. Okay, my number still can be divided by 9, so I need to make another box over here. Here's my 36. Does 9 go into 3? No. Does 9 go into 36? Yes. How many times? Look across your chart. See 36 there? It goes 4 times. 4 times 9, 36. Subtract 0. So now I'm going to add these all up. 200 plus 30 plus 4, 234 cows. All right, we're going to do number 2 together, and we're going to do number 2 the traditional way. So if you still have your sticky that says, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? You want to pull that out. Otherwise, you might want to just write it on the top of your page like this. And you remember that the D stands for divide, the M stands for multiply, subtract, compare or check, bring down. Okay, so hopefully you have enough space here. copy the problem down over here. Looks like this. The sidewalk covers 3,372 square feet. If the sidewalk is 4 feet wide, what is its length? You remember when you're finding area, it's length times width. They gave you the width, they gave you the area, but they didn't give you the length. So to find the length, we're going to divide. All right. Again, we're going to start with dividing. Does 4 go into 3? Can I take 3 and make 4 out of it? No. Okay, so I'm not going to put any number above that 3. So I'm going to go over to the next number, 33. Can I take 33 and make it into groups of 4? Yes, I can. Go across your 4s and figure out which number comes closest to 33 but is not bigger. Hopefully you see 32, and that goes 8 times. I'm going to put my 8 right above that 3. Okay? 4 goes into 33 8 times. Not exactly, I know. Now our next step is to multiply the m, right? Sometimes people put a little times over here to help them remember what they multiply. 8 times the 4, and you get 32. Next step is the s, subtract. I get 1. Compare, check. Is the 1 less than 4? Yes, it is. If this number were 4 or bigger, then that would tell you that you made a mistake and you got to go back and figure it out again. Next step is the b, bring down. I'm going to bring down the 7. And again, I like to draw the arrows so that I know that I've brought it down. So now I have a new number on the bottom. My number is 17. And I'm going to work off the bottom. I'm going to divide the 4 into the 17 on the bottom. Looking across my 4s, how many groups of 4 can I make out of 17? Hopefully you saw the 16 and it would go 4 times. So put a 4 up above the 7. 4 times 4, multiplying now, 16. Next up, subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. And my next step is to compare. Is 1 less than 4? Yes, it is. Bring down my 2, all the way down there. If you get a really long problem, sometimes you have really long arrows, but it really, really helps you to figure out if you've brought that number down or not. When you have more numbers up here, they're harder to keep track of. Does 4 go into 12? Yes, it does. How many times? 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Write it down. Subtract. 0. I am done. My answer is 843 feet. All right, the next problems we're going to go through, I'm going to let you choose whether you want to do it the traditional way or if you want to do it the box method, whichever way you'd like, and I'll show you the answers for both of them. I want to go through number 3 because it gets to be a little confusing. It says Olivia has $8. Her mother has $4,784. The amount Olivia's mother has is how many times the amount Olivia has? So clearly her mother has more money, a lot more money, right? A lot of kids will read this and they'll think times, oh, I've got to multiply. And so then they'll multiply the 4,784 times the 8, and they're going to get a huge number. And then they're going to be saying that Olivia has that many times more than the mother. Well, that's not true. The mother has more. So this is a case where you're dividing. So be careful if you see the word times in your problem. It doesn't always mean divide or multiply. In this case, it means to divide. So here's how you're going to set your problem up. Go ahead and copy it down either the traditional way, or if you do the box method, make your box, pause, and then when you're done or when you're stuck, turn the video back on. All right, the correct answer is 598. I hope you got it right. If not, take a look at my problem and see if you can figure out where you went wrong, or maybe you got stuck and you just need to look at it. Okay, so take a look at what I did, whichever method you chose. You only had to do one. And then let's move on to the next problem. We're going to skip down to number 5. It says Raj is 3,288 days old. This is 6 times as old as his niece. How many days old is Raj's niece? Well, it's his niece, right? She's got to be younger. So if I multiply those two numbers together, I'm going to get a huge number, and it's going to have the niece be older than Raj. This is actually a division problem again. Okay, so you're going to take the 6, put that on the outside, that's going to be our divisor, and then 3,288 is our dividend. Again, you could choose the traditional method, which is the digit by digit, or you can choose the place value section or box method. Give it a whirl, pause the video, see if you can get it, and then turn us back on again and see how you did. Here you go. The answer is 548. So the traditional way on the left, the box method on the right. Hopefully you did well. All right, we're going to try some other problems. I'd like for you to turn your page one more over so you're on this page. Unfortunately, problems don't always work out exactly, and we're left with something that's called a remainder. So if you look at the problem on the top of the page, you can see the division problem. The answer, the quotient was 567, sorry. And then look down at the bottom. See how there's a 2 left down there? They were dividing by 8, and they couldn't make any more groups of 8 out of that 2. So that 2 is just something that's left over, and we call it a remainder. We're going to try some practice problems that have remainders. Now, if you're a person who has been liking checking your answers with your calculator, you are not going to like these because your calculator is not going to tell you the remainder. Your calculator is going to change that remainder into a decimal, which we'll learn about later on. So please don't divide it out on your calculator and put the number after the decimal as your remainder, because that will not be right. All right, so I'd like for you to try number 9 right here, and I'd like you to divide it out and see if you can figure out what it is with the remainder. Again, pause the video. If you get stuck, stop it and come back. All right, here's your answer, 896, remainder 4. Okay, so notice how when you got down to the bottom in both methods, there was a 4 left over, and you can't make any groups of 6 when you have only 4 left. So that's just the remainder. All right, let's try another one. Let's try number 5. Sorry, not number 5, number 11, right down here. We're going to divide 4,914 by 5. So I would suggest doing this on another piece of paper. Make your numbers really big, space them out, line them up nice and neat, and remember you're going to have a remainder on this. So go ahead, try number 11. All right, here's your correct answer, 982, remainder 4. When you get down to the bottom, you have 4, and you can't divide that into groups of 5. Let's try one more before you go. And let's see how you do. Bear with me here. Oop. All right. Let's go on to the next page so you guys can have some space. Let's try a word problem. Okay. Let's try number 25. Okay. The Martinson School bought 1,890 water bottles to distribute equally among students over a 5-day period. How many bottles are distributed each day? Go ahead and try that. Maybe it'll have a remainder, maybe not. See how you do. All right, it comes out exactly. Sorry, my handwriting's a little bit messy, but it should be 378. Okay, so look and see where you went wrong. Now, I got to tell you, I learned how to divide in 4th grade, really didn't learn how to do it. Tried to learn how in 5th grade, didn't really learn how to do it. Finally, it wasn't until my best friend at the end of 5th grade taught me how to do this. So if you get stuck, have a friend help you, have an adult help you, have somebody sit next to you. It's a little tricky, but you can get it. Good luck.